first place.
Can this person even be your helpmate?
Can this person be your what? Don't go and marry for Yashu.
I allow him to walk in his calling by being hard sometimes. So I allow you to exercise. I allow you to exercise that scripture that you're speaking about.
Perfect.
Hi everyone, I'm Simbi.
I'm Olamide.
And welcome back to our channel.
What are we doing?
The best marriage and dating advice you would ever hear. Yes. Number one piece of marriage advice that we've gathered is don't give up, and especially not too soon. I feel like these days in our generation, I'm so sorry, but we don't like process. We don't like to endure. And I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me right here. But something I've come to learn is that if God ordained your marriage, before you even consider giving up, you need to go and talk to him.
Yeah.
And most of the times when we feel like giving up, we probably haven't talked to God about it yet, because it tends to be about like the smaller things that, you know, should not be as substantial or as impactful as they may feel in that moment. We're very, very quick to make changes when things don't work for us. And again, I'm talking to myself, like, you don't like that job, you out. I mean, for very valid reasons. You don't like this, it's out. Like, the world we live in these days, things are quick, we change quickly, we move quickly, and that has great pros.
Yeah.
But in the covenant of marriage, that's not really how it works. So it can be confusing to have to live or do marriage in a way that's different from the way that the world is moving in. Because the way the world is moving in isn't necessarily bad. Like, you should not just stay through things that you don't deserve or all of that. But marriage is different, because if you're going into it, you're believing that God instituted it, ordained it, like it's part of his plan. So there's a different pace that we need to take before choosing to throw in the towel.
Yeah. And we know, like, the, domestic violence cases and all.
We ain't talking
those
about
things.
it.
Like, that's a different scenario. And even with that, I think the first thing is always removing yourself from that situation, and then addressing it, from it. But
let God lead you.
Yeah.
Like the advice is let God lead you.
Yeah.
Don't give up based on what your flesh wants, or in the moment you're like, yuck,
yeah.
I don't like that anymore, so I'm out. Like, actually consult God. Let God like grow you through the process.
For me, the best marriage advice that I got was straight from the Bible. Husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. And for me, like, that's really what has helped me throughout our marriage, because like when God really revealed what that scripture meant to me, I said, you be out here, like, a lot of people emphasize wives submit to husband, submission this, submission that, submission.
You don't submit. You didn't change your name. You cannot submit. Do you remember that comment?
Oh wait,
name change. Yes, I have a problem with submission. Anyway,
I don't remember that. But when you really sit down and think about husband, love your wife as Christ loves the church.
My God.
And think about the fact that, like, how did Christ love the church? Christ loved the church by choosing.
Come on and preach on Resurrection Sunday.
By choosing to die for a group of people that may or may not accept him. So, for you as the husband, the calling upon your life to your wife is to be ready to do all and everything before she's even willing to accept you. So it's a very practical example. People get in an argument or something, or heated situation, or whatever the case, both of you are upset with each other. You as the man are responsible to take the first step. Why? Because you're supposed to love your wife as Christ loved the church. And who took the first step? Christ did.
My God did.
So
You see, I allow him to walk in his calling by being hard sometimes. So I allow you to exercise. I allow you to exercise that scripture that you're speaking about to make sure that it's working in you.
To make sure, I was just
Just to make sure, yeah.
But yeah, like that has helped me so much, because in situations where like, oh, maybe we're both upset or something like that, I just have to swallow my pride and just take the first step. And yeah, and that's just one example, but
yeah,
that goes across so many things.
Yep.
And when you really understand the depth of that, you really understand that like as men, as husbands, we have such a high calling on our lives. So that has helped me a lot in our marriage. That's the best advice that me I've gotten as a man. Best advice.
That's good. That's good. There are so many imbalances in our society.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. And now for the best dating advice. I mean, like, I definitely believe it's the best. Date with God. And by that, literally be ruthless in your dating process, because the reason why you're dating is for marriage. And when you're dating, that's when you can still tap out. Like, you can still tap out. So your dating phase is not the phase to be playing around, to be lying to yourself, or like not allowing God to get in there and like rip it up, put it all back together. That this is not the time to be holding on to something you feel like you're being told to let go of. This is the time to be really, really, really hard, like really hard. Better
allow God to reveal that red flag for you and run away from it.
Yes, like this is your opportunity, because as we said, marriage is a covenant. Like, and I feel like when you date well, if you date well, and dating well is allowing God into that, then your marriage is based on something firm and strong, and you know that God said. Therefore, when you're now with your husband, you now know that if God said, like, everything you now do is based on if God said, if God said, if God said. So you go back to what God said before you even consider leaving that or anything. So in short, date with God, date ruthlessly, allow God into it now. Please, I beg. Literally, I beg. We cannot help you if you do not allow God to help you. Like, let God help you now, and don't put yourself in something, or don't remain in something that you know God has not ordained. And the only way you know how God speaks is by drawing closer to God. So, yeah, man.
Dating advice, I would say, from a man's perspective, or just generally, date somebody, like, filter through the lens of, is this person going to draw me closer to Christ? You know, like, is this person going to push me closer to the purpose for which God has created me? And that requires you even knowing why God has created you in the first place.
Can this person even be your helpmate?
Can this person be your what? Don't go and marry for Yashu. Can this person be your bro? I'm telling you right now, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. That's a real life situation. It's real. It's not just Bible. Bible is real.
Yeah.
This is real life. So don't go and die for Yashu. So, like, filter through the lens of, is this person going to push me closer to God? This person, and for men, sometimes it's like, let me find this lady that is, she's Christian and she after Christ, but not too holy. Not too holy, not too much, where it's like,
what's the meaning of that?
Not too, my guy.
What's the meaning?
I'm telling you right now, so better look for someone that will challenge you.
I pray, if if that's your mindset, I pray a truly holy girl will not go and enter your wahala. Talk about, I want someone that's holy but not really holy.
You know, so that we can see, you know.
What you talk about?
But I'm telling you right now, you know, because and I on the flip side, don't go and say, oh, because there's also the parts where, you know, in a lot of households, like the women are like the holier ones, so a guy is looking for someone that is like holier than he is, so that, you know, you're the one that will be praying for us and whatnot. That's not how it works. But main thing is, find someone that will draw you closer to Christ. Don't be intimidated by, or don't feel like, let me find someone that's not too holy. At the same, like, find someone that both of you are chasing God at the same pace, and the pace should be at the max pace that you can possibly be chasing God at, and that's it.
Yeah, man. I mean, if we're debating about pace or how much is too much to love God, that's a different conversation. Like, but yeah, no, that conversation actually deserves care and attention.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people get stick for that. It's like, this one they do too much, man. It should be all of us who are Christians. Like,
but what
bruv,
is it about?
Let everybody like.
What is it actually?
It's a
about?
relationship. It's a relationship. Have your own relationship with God. Let this person have their own relationship with God. As Christians, sometimes we don't allow people thrive because we are judging them based off our own relationship with God.
Especially like quieting fires in young Christians.
Right.
And by young Christian, it isn't by age, it's by like early, like you just came to Christ, you're on fire, you're in love, and then someone makes these statements of, oh, she's doing too much, or oh, you're too much. And at that stage, maybe you haven't come to a point of, I don't care.
And
I don't care what you think.
Care, yeah.
I'm actually doing this because I love God, and
Yeah.
So yeah, no, man.
That's deep.
Society, generation, culture, society, culture.
Well,
What's your advice?
yeah, what's your own advice? Or
Comment below.
what's your own advice? Comment below. Peace out.
A-Town.
A-Town.
We actually live in A-Town though.
Yeah.
A-Town for life.
We in the 8.